Good afternoon, everybody. And we are here on the day of the solar eclipse, the complete solar eclipse, and we're in Toronto. And we're supposed to, I think, maybe see 75%. So if it goes dark, it's got nothing to do with CEO of Tourism Ireland, Niall Gibbons. Welcome to Toronto, and thanks very much for visiting us here today. The Prime Minister was in for his very first international visit, which was a great treat for all of us that were in the tourism, hospitality, and media business here today. So can you just give us a sense of the performance, because we had some great things about numbers and the increase in traffic.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for interviewing me. It's terrific to be here, and if it goes dark in the next 20 minutes, I'm in big trouble. But look, it's been a great story from North America over the last number of years. Last year, we had a record year in excess of 1.5 million visitors. North America in general growing by about 13%. The Canadian market here where we are today growing by 11%. Over 200,000 Canadians, record year. The air access picture being very, very strong. I mean, now in North America, we've got 20 gateways serving Ireland. We've got 15 in the United States. We've got 5 here in Canada. Unprecedented access, so it's never been easier, and the value has never been better in terms of getting to Ireland.
So, and what about room capacity? I heard we had some discussion about an increase in room availability. I mean, it's a great position to be in when you don't have enough room to accommodate, but there's some news that you were sharing earlier with us.
Yeah, we've seen a big increase in demand over the last number of years, and now it's important that bed capacity catches up with that. So we know that in Dublin there's in excess of 5,000 bedrooms under construction, and they'll be on stream all by 2020. And in Belfast, the good news is that there's in excess of 1,400 bedrooms coming on stream next year in 2017 alone. That'll give it a lot of lift to the Northern Ireland industry, and we're really excited about that, because with the advent of things like Game of Thrones, with some of the big investments in tourism in Northern Ireland over the last number of years, it really is in vogue, and we're seeing a great renaissance there at the moment.
And anecdotally, I don't know if you have the numbers, that's great, but anecdotally, how is the impact of those specialty TV programs been in terms of sheer numbers, or just even anecdotally to the impact that it's had on the market?
Oh, anecdotally huge. We know in Game of Thrones alone that 55,000 people last year came alone for Game of Thrones. The Star Wars one is too early to measure, but we know that the Star Wars trailer last year was viewed by 130 million people globally. We know our Game of Thrones campaign was seen by 126 million, so it certainly is converting. And we've got Star Wars The Last Jedi now breaking on the 15th of December this year. We'll have a campaign with Lucasfilm to celebrate that. And our latest Game of Thrones campaign has just broken as well, and that's breaking all records.
Excellent. So what's the big push for 2017? I suppose in terms of growth expectations out of North America and US and Canada, if you can split that, and any new tack that you may be using to target that growth strategy.
Well, we had planned for growth in excess of 6% from this market, both USA and Canada, but in the first 6 months of the year, we've seen spectacular growth of almost 21%. So very, very strong. We feel we'll sustain a lot of that to the end of the year. We're very excited about next year. We just had a meeting today with some of the key carriers, with the trade and with the media, very buoyed up about next year. We know that some of the carriers are putting in additional capacity again in 2018. So I'd be quite optimistic that we'll see strong, robust, at least single-digit growth from the North American market in 2018.
I guess lastly, the one question is that what would you think the impact, if any, or the effect of Brexit, depending on what the outcome of Brexit actually ends up look like? What do you think that may have in terms of impact for the tourism sector?
It's very early to say. We know that there has been a currency impact already, because the value of sterling has depreciated against the euro by about 15%. Now that makes the eurozone as a whole, not just Ireland, more expensive. Northern Ireland, part of the sterling zone, by the way, isn't impacted by that. But we have to wait and see what's happened from a structural perspective. In all the political parties want the common travel area to remain. In other words, travel around the UK and Ireland as if it's one country for tourism purposes, which is very, very good. But look, the bottom line is that Brexit will come and Brexit will go, whatever form it takes. But we do know from United Nations World Tourism Organization's stats is that more people are going to be travelling around the world in the next decade. We will see the number of people travelling around the globe increase from 1.2 billion to 1.8 billion by 2030, and it's important that destinations are out there capturing their share.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, now thank you very much for giving that informative breakdown of what's going on. I'm John Kirk with Travel Pulse, everybody. Thanks very much for tuning in. And I don't think we'll hang in long enough, but I do think it's going to get dark pretty quick. So, yeah, I know. All right, now thanks very much for taking the time with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.